What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Only Football channel. I'm a little embarrassed that I just went on for about 5 minutes and I didn't hit the live button and I knew something was a little off. I I'm so mad. Luckily, I wasn't like an hour in. This is trivia, football. We do trivia. We do trivia better than other people do trivia. I don't really know how to say it. Other people's trivia sucks. Ours is awesome. Other people ask questions like the Browns are the nickname for which team? Cleveland, Pittsburgh. Bill in the chat, what is going on? Bill, happy to have you in here. By the way, got a wireless mouse. This is long overdue because the distance between the computer and myself, there are so many comments that I don't click on just because I don't want to lean all the way in. And now y'all can't get a comment in here without me posting it up, including you, Casey. What's going on? Happy to have you in here. Cly, my name is Cly today, and I will be going by Cly. I was saying that there was a Good Morning Football episode on NFL Network because the hotel I was staying at had NFL Network, and it literally stayed on that channel the entire time. Even when I left for the day, I kept it running. I don't know why. It just made me feel good to know NFL Network was rolling at home. The only exception was the NBA playoffs. I did flip over to TNT and ESPN to watch a couple of games, but I saw Patrick Surtain one morning. I woke up in the morning. It was, let's see, California time. It was 6. It was like 5:45 in the morning. And I was pleasantly surprised by Patrick Surtain in my hotel room. And he was not virtually doing this interview. He was in the studio, which I believe they shoot that in New York. So I don't know if he flew out there for that or for some other stuff, but it was really cool because I woke up and I see this interview and he's talking about Sean Payton and he's mentioning that Kyle dyslexia has set in. He was mentioning how Sean Payton has brought this culture and it's already taken effect. And I was saying like about 6 episodes ago, I was talking about Russell Wilson. And to make a long story short, my whole entire tangent was that Russ does a lot of very good things, but he always does them on camera. And when you do good things on camera, there's always some kind of question of how authentic that moment really is. Is it for me or is it because you want to have a good image because the cameras are rolling? I think the same thing when I see great, beautiful stories on YouTube Shorts. Guy bum rushes an old Vietnam vet and makes him, you know, answer some really insensitive questions about, how many people he had to kill or whatnot, and then takes him to Disney World, gets I just look, and I was saying, I do think that sometimes people do good things because positivity is contagious, and I can appreciate that. But you see how many back and forths that there are. It's like, no, you're just doing that because, like, look, I'm not the only one out there that sees a video like that and goes, man, why do you got to do that on camera? Like, I've never once, have been like, you know what, I'm going to do something really nice for a person, which in recent times I've done said thing and went, let me grab my phone and record this moment so I can show the world that I'm doing a good thing. It just feels a little self-centered, you know, at least. And I mentioned 5 episodes ago that I think the reason the media isn't allowed in to the training program is because Sean Payton wants to establish something that is very simple. It's called trust, okay? In order to establish trust, we have to remove all of people's motives. Social media motive, this motive, that. Social media is a huge motive all in its own. And if you're going to trust each other, like you're going to go to war for each other, like you're going to have that brotherhood that I got your back, you got my 6, right? They need to know that Russ is all in whether the camera crew is allowed to come through the doors or not. And that's exactly what Sean Payton has done. And Patrick Surtain confirmed it. And I was ahead of it. I knew immediately the day they said no cameras allowed. I said, I know what Sean's doing. He's getting rid of anything that can get in the way of this team developing full trust. If you trust 90%, but there's 10% where you're like, yeah, but he's kind of sketchy, you don't have any trust, right? It's like it's an all or nothing type deal. That's what's unique about trust. You can't trust somebody like 99.9%. That 1% will affect you way more than that 99% does. So I do believe that that's what's going on. And Patrick Surtain really said that Sean Payton has come in and he's the real deal. He's implementing a system. He's very serious about what he's doing. No media, no social media. He said he doesn't want to see anything posted on social media. And personally, I can get behind that. Like, you did the social media thing last year and we were terrible. What is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. We need to change up the way we do things from the inside out. If you guys didn't see this interview, you can see it on the NFL app. It's on YouTube as well. I highly recommend watching it. Patrick Surtain shares his impressions of new head coach Sean Payton. So we have trivia that is not going to be about one specific thing. Instead, this is a well-versed trivia. We have statistical things in there. We have historical things in there. We have team things in there, logo stuff in there, stadium name stuff. We're going to just get smarter today, overall knowledge of the NFL. And we are going to start with this question at number 1. Okay. Who has the most touchdowns in a career? Who has the most touchdowns in a career? Immediately, you might ask yourself, does a passing touchdown count? No, a passing touchdown does not count. Talking about you are standing in the end zone and you're holding the ball and you have to hand it to the ref. That is a touchdown. You do have options. All right. You do have options. And here they are. Hold on. Let me pull them up. Let me pull all of them up. I'm going to pull up every question and not just that one question. Okay. Where are you? Man, I got like 15 questions today. Sorry. We're going to do some different. Okay. Okay, here we go. A, Emmitt Smith. Okay, out of these options, okay, I'm not doing all time because if I'd make it all time, you'll know the answer immediately. Who has the most touchdowns in a career out of these options? A, Emmitt Smith. B, LaDainian Tomlinson. C, Randy Moss. Or D, Terrell Owens. Who has the most touchdowns out of those players? Bill's got his answer in. Bill's quick with it today. And I was saying I accidentally forget to hit the live button. I did like 5 minutes of this episode and nobody was here. And I thought it was because you guys just, were enjoying your Saturday. And I could totally appreciate that. So if you are out there and you're enjoying your Saturday, this video is still going to, it's going to be up forever. So just post your answers in the comments. Let us know how many you got right. And I'll start by saying that Bill and KC are both right. They said Emmitt Smith, and that was correct. Emmitt Smith is the right answer. Emmitt Smith had 175 touchdowns in his career. LaDainian Tomlinson, right behind, only 13 less. He had 162. Randy Moss had 157. And T.O., just one less than Randy Moss, 156. Who is the all-time touchdown leader? Now, I'm pretty sure you guys know. That's why I left number 1 out. because number one has always been the moment you see the name, you already know that that's the answer. And I didn't want to make it too easy. But I'll tell you, number one is Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice has 208 touchdowns in his career. Emmitt Smith is second with, 33 less touchdowns. So that's like a couple seasons worth. That's insane. All right. Bill saying, I didn't realize LaDainian Tomlinson was that high up. And yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't either, but it was also one of those where if you asked me this question, I probably wouldn't have thought LaDainian Tomlinson, but the moment I saw it, I fully understood it because as a Bronco fan, we saw him just torch us for years. So, not surprising at all. LT, one of the all-time greats at the position. I think he was the first player to receive a touchdown, throw a touchdown, and run for a touchdown. And he also broke, I believe, around 2007, the single season rushing touchdown record. And he was playing the Broncos when he did it too. So LT was the real deal. Bill said, I love how Montana Rice years excluded from my brain cells because of all the times they beat us. LOL. Jerry crossed my mind. Yeah, Jerry. He was the real deal. Big old hands too. I feel like he hasn't aged in about 25 years. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but he's at the 49ers games. And yeah, for what it's worth, he looks the same way I remembered him from being 9 Jacksonville Super Bowl, when they hosted the Patriots and Panthers. All right, here we go. This is going to be a good one. Ready? Who holds the NFL single season sack record? A, Michael Strahan. B, Jared Allen. C, TJ Watt. Or D, Justin Houston. Now, do you guys remember Jared Allen's thing where he would get on a knee and he would like wind it up and then go like that? That was one of my favorites. I think that was his thing. He's like winding something up. I love Jared Allen, man. Jared Allen was one of my favorite players during his prime. And KC says it was subconscious, talking about the Jerry Rice pick. And he goes, I was a big Cowboys fan back in the day. KC and Bill both have their answers in. And Bill says Strahan because I'm a homer. And I have always respected consistency in any form. And Bill, you are consistent with being a homer. KC says Strahan as well. And Bill, this time it's going to pay off for you because Michael Strahan is indeed the all-time or single season all-time sack leader. And here is some stats for you. Michael Strahan had 22.5 in 2001. And tied for second, you have Jared Allen at 22. And also TJ Watt actually had 21.5, so that would have been third place. So Justin Houston and Jared Allen are tied for second with TJ Watt in 2021, getting why does Siri just start listening? It's only with Max, man. So yeah, TJ Watt. We'll see if he can get, man. He almost got it. I think that was his rookie season too, 2021. Maybe he came in 2020, but still, talk about jumping out of the gate. And Michael Strahan, I mean, you talk about how the NFL has changed with edge rushers, people that are just coming out of the NFL polished and ready with one job to get after the quarterback. Some of these edge rushers are so good, they're not even good at run defense. They're just literally there to rush the quarterback. They're making them, more and more specific to getting sacks. And yet Michael Strahan is going to celebrate his 22nd year straight of holding the sack record. And think about it. He's got 22 sacks. 22 is the tied for second with Justin Houston and Jared Allen. And he's had the record for 22 years. That means that it's going to get beat this year. Bold prediction here on trivia. Single season sack record will be broken this year. All right. Here we go. Which team had the first running back to rush for 10,000 yards, career yards? A, Browns. B, Bears. C, Cowboys. D, Oilers. Which team had the first running back to rush for 10,000 career yards? That's a lot of yards, folks. That's a lot of yards. 10,000 yards, man. 10,000 yards. And I don't know if I would have gotten this one, being completely honest with you. I'm just being honest. And we got some comments in. KC says Cowboys. I mean, we did just say Emmitt Smith, so it would make sense. Bill going Browns just to be different. Just to be different. I like it, man. Conformist. Do the hair flip. If you haven't seen that South Park episode, it's amazing. It's like, it's the emo kids and they call everybody a conformist and they flip their hair. I'm just joking though. In all reality, Bill, being different sometimes does actually pay off. And today's one of those days. The answer is the Browns. It's the weird pick. It is. It was the odd man out, right? Because you go down that list of people and you go Emmitt Smith, for the Cowboys, and you're just kind of putting it together. I put the Oilers in there because we all know Earl Campbell was doing his thing, right? And then I put the Bears in there because of Walter Payton. And yeah, it was actually, I just put the, hold on one second. I just wrote it. I'll just put it again. Create. Here we go. So here you go. Jimmy Brown, also known as Jim Brown, became the first NFL player to break the 10,000-yard rushing barrier today in pacing the Cleveland Browns to a 30-17 victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steel curtain, not so much. So, Bill, I don't know if this is your first time being 3 for 3 to start, but you're 3 for 3. And KC's got 2 out of 3 right. This is the best we've ever started collectively. Good work, guys. Was not expecting this right out the gate. Which one of these teams has lost 5 Super Bowls? Which one of these teams has 5 Super Bowl losses? A, Bills. B, Eagles. C, Packers. D, Broncos. Who has 5 Super Bowl losses? Let's see it. Bill with the Bill. Bill's answer is in, and it is Bill. Why you wanna... If you guys hear live music in the background, they hired a band next door to celebrate me returning home today. And I told them, I was like, I got to do trivia. And they're like, well, we're going to be playing. So if you guys hear, Tom Petty in the background, rest in peace, Tom Petty. And Bill and KC's answer is in. They both say Bill, and Bill says he feels really confident about Bill as it came up before, didn't it? It was part of you talking about a different question. And Bill, I think he's probably referring to a question that I had mentioned about a team losing 4 consecutive Super Bowls, and that was the Bills. And if you're a reasonable man, you could, or woman, and you know that there's 4 losses for one team, it is reasonable to think that somewhere in the rest of your team's existence, you had one more Super Bowl loss. And that's why I totally respect it. I really do. But unfortunately, this time the answer is the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos have lost 5 Super Bowls, but the New England Patriots has also lost 5 Super Bowls. So that is something. And then Bill says, "Oh no, I know what it is. The oldest team, isn't it?" I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't remember the exact question. I know that Casey just put in the comment, the older team. I should have known. But yeah, that's one of those questions that it actually pains me to type out because that means Denver could have had 8 rings if they, won all their Super Bowls. But the Patriots own the record for most Super Bowl appearances, 11. I think this is the question that you're remembering. The Cowboys, Steelers, and Broncos are tied for second with 8 appearances apiece. That might be actually the question. So, and Bill said the Patriots lost 2 of them to us. Little Giants pride in the chat. Shout out Giants Nation. All right. So, here we go. It's fun. I get to pick which ones I do cuz I got them all, but they're not in any particular order. How about this one? Which NFL player is nicknamed the Honey Badger? Tyrann Mathieu, Josh Allen, Tyreek Hill, or Aaron Donald? I know I didn't put A, B, C, D, but you can just put it in chronological order from Tyrann Mathieu being A to Aaron Donald being D. And let me know who is nicknamed the Honey Badger. And KC says, I think the Bills and Broncos won 1 Super Bowl each. Denver actually has 3 Super Bowls, and it's right there on the banner. Bam. Back to back. 1970, 1997, 1998, John Elway. Repeats. One of the only teams to repeat in NFL history. 2015. Should have won in 2013. But yeah, Denver has 3 Super Bowl rings, and Kansas City has themselves 3 because of a guy named Patrick Mahomes. But they're just now catching up to where Denver is, so I don't feel bad. Aaron Donald, KC. And Bill also going with Aaron Donald. He says it's a straight up guess. Now, initially, Elway's win was memorable. Yeah, the helicopter hit. If Plaxico didn't literally shoot himself in the ass, we would have repeated. Yeah. Nightclub Plaxico Burress. I'll never forget that story. So, okay. KC, I thought might know this, but he's also kind of newish to football. But I guess he is a little bit older. But the answer is actually somebody that played for the Chiefs. It's Tyrann Mathieu. He played college football at LSU. In college, he developed a reputation for causing turnovers, setting a Southeastern SEC record with 11 forced fumbles and earning the nickname no, the Honey Badger. I don't know why I didn't finish that. So, the Honey Badger. So, we got no correct answers out of the last two, but we did start 3 for 3. So, Bill's 3 for 5, and KC is 2 for 5. And that's pretty good so far. Moving on. Which city did the Rams originally play in? Ooh. A, Cincinnati. B, Pittsburgh. C, Cleveland. D, Baltimore. Bill saying, so I'm 3 for 5 so far. You're 3 for 5 so far. I was saying that KC is 2 for 5. And which city did the Rams originally play in? Which city did the Rams initially play in? And this was a fun one. I don't know if you guys know this. I didn't, I'll be honest. And Bill said, wait, they moved to Aniam? They moved TO? Oh, no. So Cleveland. Okay. So back to the question. Which city did the Rams originally play in? Okay. Because they did move, but they had an original home in the very, very beginning. And Casey's saying Baltimore is my guess. And Bill's saying Baltimore. I saw the Giants play the Rams play the Giants in 1990. Okay. So there was the Baltimore Colts, and the actual answer here is not what you were looking for, unfortunately. It was Cleveland. And the Cleveland Rams were a professional football team that played in Cleveland from 1936 to 1945. So it wasn't even just a couple years. It was 9 years. The Rams competed for the Second American Football League, AFL, for the 1936 season and the National Football League from 1937 to 1945, winning the NFL championship in 1945 before moving to Los Angeles in 1946 to become the first of only two professional football champions to play the following season in another city. Wow. They were the first team ever to win a Super Bowl and get moved to another city the next year. How crazy is that? And I learned all this today, literally today. So Bill's saying, thanks, Kyle. Look, I'm just the delivery man. But yeah, crazy to hear, because normally when you win a Super Bowl, it brings a lot of revenue into the city. It's pretty much a bad time. Usually you see people move, like the St. Louis Rams. And even then they had a pretty good fan base over there, but they moved to LA and it worked out for them. But what I didn't know is that when they moved to LA, they were just moving back to LA. So the Rams went, unless there's some other journey I'm not aware of, they went from Cleveland to Los Angeles to St. Louis back to Los Angeles. That is the Rams journey. And Casey said the only in-person NFL game for me was the Rams preseason. Okay. In California, I'm ignorant on that one. Yeah, it's a tough one, but it's just meant for us to be like, oh shit, I didn't know that. Now I do. Okay. Let's see which one I want to do next here. Okay, here we go. When was the current Philadelphia Eagles logo made and adopted? A, 1994. B, 96. C, 2000. D, 1974. When was the current logo that the Eagles use today adopted? And that's another solid question. Like, we're gonna go in by the time we're done with all these trivias, guys, we're gonna go into next year just feeling like we have all of the answers to everything that anyone could ever ask. Imagine your family or your buddies or coworkers like, "Hey, let's go to the bar," and some random person comes up and they're like, "Oh, your friends didn't tell you? We're doing sports trivia. Today the subject is NFL." You guys are going to you're going to win cuz they're going to ask easy questions. They're not going to ask questions like these, I don't think. But if they do, you'll probably see it. And Bill says toss up, going with A, and KC says 1974. I don't remember it changing. And that's a good way to kind of process of elimination. It's like if I don't remember it changing, it's probably been that way my entire life. So you use your birth year as a kind of a measuring point. And unfortunately, that is not the right answer, but it is a very solid test taking strategy. The answer is 1996. 1996 is when the current logo was created. And Bill said, nah, it used to have wings back in the day. And if you haven't seen it, Casey, especially because you're getting into football, you have to watch the movie, um, not Invisible, Invincible. Mark Wahlberg plays a receiver that is from Philadelphia, and he basically the Eagles sucked, so they were gonna have open tryouts for the team. And this is a true story about a wide receiver that was a regular guy that was kind of, poor, didn't know what direction to go in life, ends up becoming a real NFL football player from trying out and marries a Giants fan. Bill says, only know since we play them twice a year. Yep. And Mark Wahlberg is, I'm a fan. All right. Invincible, Casey. When you do watch it, I let me know what you thought. It's a Disney movie, so if you have Disney Plus, or I don't know if that helps or not, but you're not going to find it on Netflix or anything because Disney's greedy. Okay. Here we go. How about this? What two teams have met each other the most number of times in the Super Bowl? A, Patriots versus Giants. B, Patriots versus Eagles. C, Patriots versus Rams. Or D, Cowboys. Wait. Oh, I didn't copy D. I'm trying to remember what D is. Hold on. D was Steelers versus Cowboys. Sorry. Steelers versus Cowboys was D, but it didn't come in. And Bill said, still got it wrong. Just not very wrong, LOL. Yeah, you do. You get some points for not being totally wrong. Cowboys, Steelers, right? My 70s was hell. And Bill's got his answers in. We'll give it a couple more seconds to let it breathe. I wasn't around in the 70s. And you know what I've been doing lately? Steelers versus boys, they played a lot. That is the correct answer. You both got that right. And I will say What I've been doing lately, because I have a problem, I've been watching games that are fully uploaded on YouTube. But it has to be a game that is, you know, not memorable. Okay. So I'm not watching signature games. I'm just picking a random year, like 2009, and then I'm picking, Chiefs. Okay, what week did Broncos play Chiefs in 2009? And I'm watching the whole game, and it's fun because it's been long enough where I don't remember who wins. There's been cases where I'm like, oh, I remember this game. They go for two at the end, but it's been long enough where you're like, you get to see players that you haven't seen. Like, dude, YouTube is an amazing place to go watch old football games that were really good, but you just totally forgot about them. So you both got that right. Bill said I was in New Jersey and everyone was in Cowboys and Steelers gear. It sucked. Yep. And I thought, with the way the Steelers drafted, they're kind of heading back that direction. They had a really solid draft. I ranked them number two. I thought the Giants had a really good draft too, but I thought the Steelers had a really good draft with the Eagles. But look, we'll have to see. We might be going into an era where Chiefs and Eagles might be the 2020s decade, that has the most repeats. Because Mahomes is Mahomes, and the Eagles are, they're going to be a problem this year. KC said, back when America's team was America's team. Yeah. Back when America's team wasn't the most hated team in the NFL, potentially. Okay. Here's a good one. What were the Kansas City Chiefs once known as? A, the Dallas Texans. B, Cincinnati Celts. C, the Hartford Blues. D, the New York Yankees. Now, don't all of these just sound terrible? You're like going through and you're like, no, these are all wrong. One of them's right, believe it or not. Bill said, oh, I still hated them. And Casey said, wait, that was insensitive. Sorry. LOL. No, it wasn't. We don't like the Cowboys. Look, I don't hate the Cowboys because they're not in my division, so I don't really care. But I don't like them either. What I don't like is that people say, "Oh, it's America's team." Everywhere I go, there's Packers bars everywhere. I could go literally anywhere and find Packer fans. All you have to do is wait till Sunday and go out to a sports bar and look around and see all the Packers gear. Unless you're in a specific, like, downtown New Jersey on game day, yeah, there's Giants fans everywhere. But if you are somewhere kind of outside of, like, you don't have a, like, Maine, right? Like someone that doesn't have a football team to cheer for, look at how many Packer fans you'll find. Go to, like, New Mexico. There's actually a lot of Bronco fans there. But go to, Gainesville, Florida, somewhere like that. You'd be shocked. So I always thought we need to do a poll. It's time for a new poll because I think Green Bay, well, I don't they probably wouldn't be now with, the Aaron Rodgers, the way he's covered on the media. But I would say like 5 years ago, absolutely, I think it was the Packers. It's the Chiefs now, for sure. Everybody wants to be a bandwagon. And Bill says Celts. He goes, the Chiefs were known as the Celts. They both start with a C. They're both, what, 4 letters? One of them's 5. No, they're both 5 letters. Okay. Sorry. Computer screen's not that big. Casey says, a Dallas Texans, I'm sure. And Bill goes, oh, well, my answer is in. Good on you, Casey. If you got this one on lock, I was a guess. And yeah, KC ties it up with Bill here because it is the Dallas Texans. The the Chiefs were known as the Dallas Texans. And that is just sounds so wrong. Um does not sound right. Doesn't roll off the tongue, if you will. Dallas Cowboys has a ring to it. Dallas Texans, no. Kansas City Texans, no. Kansas City Cowboys, kind of. That might work, but no. So, yeah, not to confuse you with all the answers I just said, the answer is Dallas Texans. Good job on that one, Casey. What was the highest score ever? Both teams combined in an NFL game. So this is after the AFL merger. This is since the NFL has been the NFL. Who is what was the highest score game? There was a really high scored game. What was that? It's like 4 years ago. I think it was Monday Night Football when the Ravens played the Rams, or was it the Chiefs and the Rams? It was no, yeah. I think it was the Rams with Jared Goff in the Ravens. I think it was like 49 to or 51 to 49, something like that. But Bill goes 108 because 8 is a weird number, is a weird number to end on. And Bill says C, 108 as well. Both of them going with 108 because it's weird. And this is actually the question of bad luck because the answer ends with a 1 and a 3. It ends with 113. 113. Now, isn't it weird how superstitious America is? Like, think about a hotel like the Four Seasons, where if you're in season, it could cost you $5,000 to stay there for one night. Depending on where you are, it could be much more than that. And think about how many rooms that you could fit on an entire floor. Let's say that you could fit 25 rooms and each room is $5,000 a night. Do you know how many millions of dollars you are wasting because we can't have a floor on the 13th floor because it's spooky, because the ghost will come out? Like, that is to me just like one of the stupidest things that I can't believe like we haven't just stopped doing. It's like we're just gonna keep rolling with this. I'm sorry, but if I ever get some money on my hands and I'm like trying to build a hotel, you can bet your bottom dollar that there will be a 13th floor. And I just had to say that. KC said final 55 to 58. That's a lot of points. The final was actually not 50 or whatever you put. The answer was 100, or the answer was the Washington Redskins 72, New York Giants 41. The New York Giants were actually on the losing end of this one. Sorry, Bill. He goes the 8 in the end. The 8 in China is good luck, though. So Bill was going with good luck, and bad luck has triumphed tonight. The highest scoring game in history is 113 points, and it was the Washington Redskins beating their divisional rival opponent, the New York Giants, and the Redskins put up 72 points. You gotta love that unless you're a Giants fan. But man, what I would do, we gotta watch this game. This is gonna be our next live stream. We're gonna watch this game live together as a family. We are going to watch the highest scoring game ever, and we are going to see how much fun that game really is. And I'm gonna schedule that. We should do that next week, okay? And moving on, all right. This is, I'm trying to see which ones I haven't done. Here we go. How many Super Bowls does John Madden have? How many Super Bowl titles does John Madden have? You just want to hurt me, don't you? No, I mean, look, I can't, you know, imagine if I ever got actually somebody called and they're like, "Hey man, we see your podcast. We think you'd be really good to be on the NFL network." And then they bring me down for an interview, maybe fly me to New York or something. And the first thing they ask me is, "Have you even seen the highest scoring NFL game of all time?" And I'm like, "Nope, no clue." I just feel like we should all, everybody that is a football fan should watch that game. And I cannot believe that I didn't even know this until today. That is a lot of points, man. I would have thought it was like the Cowboys versus, I don't know. I don't even know what I would have thought, but it wasn't the Redskins. Casey said, I can't believe any Redskin team could have scored that many. I know. That's exactly what I was just saying. I didn't even see your comment there when I said that. And then Casey says 3, and he does have a question mark at the end of it. And then Bill says 1 with 2 periods. It might be 3. And then he goes, they just did it in that big tribute video after he passed, right? So Bill, his mind is like a sponge. We're learning that about Bill, and he's right. There was a John Madden tribute video, and I believe it was playing during Thanksgiving, and he has 1 total Super Bowl. But KC, that is a great guess because normally you would think that somebody that had the imprint of John Madden's caliber would have more than 1 Super Bowl. But it's just like quarterbacks in Green Bay. You only need 1 to be considered a great. And KC said Oakland Raiders, talking about, who he was the head coach for. And Bill said it was a fantastic video. And indeed it was. And if you love this game, you probably got a little emotional. But I didn't because I hate the Raiders. All right. Let's see which one I haven't done here. Okay, I got some Giants stuff in here that I wanted to do. And I think Bill's going to know this one, but I'm going to do it anyway cuz I put it in the wrong spot. What city are the Giants from? What city are the Giants from? This was supposed to go on my banner. Sorry. Here, let me fix that. What city are the G-Men from? And you know what? Just because let's put that question mark there. What city are the Giants from? You see what I mean, though, about well-rounded trivia? It's very, hitting like every subject. KC, New York. KC got his answer in. Bill said it's New York. He has to call them the New York Football Giants because New York already had a Giants baseball team. Okay. So, originally, this, or not even originally, this is still, because I Googled it, and this is the answer that was online. East Rutherford. And if that's not right, then twist my arm and call me Sally. I found it everywhere online. Back in 1923 for bonus points. Is that when? Oh, bet where did they play back in 1923? God, I don't even know. I didn't even know that they played in East Rutherford until today. So that that's the answer that I found on multiple sites. So how come nobody said that? That's where they play now, MetLife Stadium. They play in New Jersey. But it's technically it's technically East Rutherford. Like Miami Dolphins don't play in Miami, you know? They play in Coral Gables, right? They're just called the Miami Dolphins. So people will be like, "Where does Miami play?" Most people say Miami, even though it's not true. So the stadium is where they play, and the stadium is in East Rutherford. So I guess New Jersey is just something that people say to it's a spot that people know. Like nobody knows East Rutherford unless you're from there. So, Bill, you're gonna have to clear this up for us, man. It was the Polo Grounds. What's the Polo Grounds? What do you mean by that? So, if I just go into Google and ask, it says MetLife Stadium at the Meadowlands is in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Okay, so I guess New Jersey is the city name, but if you're being more specific, it's East Rutherford. So I guess New Jersey is going to be acceptable answer, but the whole point of the question was like, I guess being more specific. If you look up on Wikipedia, Giants Stadium, it says the stadium is located in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Because New Jersey is East Rutherford is inside of New Jersey, but New Jersey is a state. So you wouldn't say that, oh, the Miami Dolphins play in Florida. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't say the Green Bay Packers play in Wisconsin. It's like, yeah, that's true, but they play in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Um, the New Orleans Saints are probably one of those teams that, yeah, you wouldn't say, oh, they play in Louisiana. Like that's very, very broad, right? So the question is kind of asking it's asking where in New Jersey do they play? Because everyone knows they're in New Jersey. Bill said Polo Ground was in Upper Manhattan. I didn't even know that. And he goes, they played polo with horses there originally, I believe. How do you guys know this? Do you guys watch like vintage polo matches when we're not when we're not in here? I totally respect it if you do. It makes me chuckle a little bit. You get to know your fan base. And Casey said they played across the Hudson River. New York is close. Okay. Why? Okay, no more polo grounds. We're asking about the New York Giants. Bill said they went polo grounds. Okay, we're talking about the polo grounds because you're saying where they initially played. Polo grounds, though, is not a city. So I'm not saying like what stadium. Polo grounds, Yankee Stadium, Yale Bowl, Shea Stadium for 1 year, moved to New Jersey in 1976. So okay. So if you were to say where okay, so where is Polo Grounds? Because that's not really a city or a place. It's a Polo Grounds was in the Harlem River, Washington Heights, Manhattan. Okay. MetLife is in East Rutherford next to where the Devils play hockey. But also keep in mind that the way the question was written, nowhere in it did it say um, originally. It didn't say originally. The question just said, what city are the Giants from? Talk about overthinking this. We were just saying where are the Giants from? You know, like what city are the Giants from? That's it. We butchered this. Bill said that's why I said New York. Okay. Well, gotcha, Yellow. Sorry, I'm overdoing it. No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm glad that you did because now I know that Polo Grounds was a stadium in Manhattan. And I did not know that. Okay. Good. Good. This is amazing. This is like such a bar type conversation that we just had. Um, and here we go. I was looking for the last question that I had. There might be one more. I'm going to go through it right here, but I want to put a question up first. And here it is. What city did the Detroit Lions originally play in? What city did the Detroit Lions originally play in? Casey said, but it's the New York Giants, not the New Jersey Giants. That doesn't matter though, because teams are often called I used a perfect example. Miami Dolphins don't play in Miami. They are far from Miami. They are 45 minutes away from Miami. They're in Coral Gables. So when somebody says, what city do the Miami Dolphins play in? The answer would actually be Coral Gables. It doesn't matter what they're called. They can call themselves whatever they want. If you go and attend a game in person, what city are you going to be in when you go to that game? And then Bill said, they're kind of New Jersey Giants, LOL. Yeah. The more you know. The more you know. And then KC said Cleveland. Cleveland. What city? Now, Cleveland was the answer earlier to a question about the Rams. And then Bill said, aren't the Lions the old Houston Oilers? That's a good question. I don't know. KC's got question marks. This might be a good one here. And the answer might be surprising. And I hope it doesn't make you guys even more mad. Portsmouth. The Detroit Lions were initially Portsmouth Lions. They previously played in Portsmouth, Ohio. So Cleveland is a pretty close guess because Cleveland is in Ohio. The Portsmouth Spartans. The Detroit Lions previously played as the Portsmouth Spartans from its founding in 1928 to its relocation to Detroit in 1934. And then Casey, no, that's Tennessee Titans. Yeah, the Houston Oilers. And then there was the Houston Texans that came in 2001. The Baltimore Colts became the Indianapolis Colts. The Rams thing changed. The Chargers are the only team to play in a new city for only 1 year when they went to Los Angeles. And or wait, no, they went the who was it? Was it the Chargers that went to Los LA Chargers? No, there was something else about the Chargers. They moved somewhere for only 1 year. I had the question earlier, but maybe it was an old trivia because now they've been there for like 5 years. I can't remember. Um, Look, I only got back to the 1920s for my team. Dude, that's further back than most people can go. I can't go back that far. My team was introduced in the league in 1968. No, I think it might be 1969. Hold on one second. When did the Denver Broncos become a team? Yeah, I was right. 1968. There's technically two answers. The Denver Broncos began to play in the American Football League in 1960 before it merged with the NFL in 1968. So, and then Bill said, Casey said, I guess they migrated from the east, but not far enough. Pure guess. Wow. Yeah. Well, I guess, Detroit, Michigan. Yeah, I guess that would be migrated from the east. I guess it would be so coming from, it would be southeast technically. Probably just as much south as it is east, I would guess in miles. Let me double check. It's college. It's the college about 15 minutes from me. And Casey says, I never dreamed a pro football team played in Portsmouth. Wow. Casey, do you know like where Portsmouth is? Are you like, because if you're, I don't know, if you're from Ohio, you might even be like, no, that's really weird. And then Bill's gonna double check on it. And we got one last trivia question. Casey said, I grew up watching Earl Campbell running for the Houston Oilers. Oh, okay. You know, Earl Campbell was the first jersey that I ever saw my dad purchase, one of those, the authentic ones. It was like 200 some dollars. I remember as a kid being like, that is so much money. But that was one of my dad's favorite players growing up was Earl Campbell. So I automatically liked him too. Tried to learn about him so that my dad would love me. Oh, just kidding. But not really. And so after today, we know John Madden has won one Super Bowl. We know that the Eagles logo was adopted, the current logo in 1996. We know that the two teams that have met the most in the Super Bowl are the Steelers and Cowboys. We know that the Kansas City Chiefs were once known as the Dallas Texans. We know that the highest score ever in a football game was 113 points when the Washington Redskins played the New York Giants. We know that the NFL player nicknamed the Honey Badger is none other than Tyrann Mathieu from LSU. We also learned that Tyrann Mathieu. Sorry, I wanted to say that right. We know that the most receiving yards in a single game. No, we didn't go over that one. There's your next question. Who has the most receiving yards in a single game? Side rant, real quick, before we wrap it all up. I was looking at another trivia that was, I'm like deep into it. I'm like looking through like Reddit and stuff, trying to find different trivias. And there was an actual website dedicated to trivia, and I was flipping through it. It had 50 questions, and out of that, I took maybe 2 of them because, like I said, most trivias that are made suck, so I don't use them. But anyway, this was one of the questions in there. Who had the most receiving yards? It had the answer. I look it up separately on ESPN. The guy that they said was the answer wasn't even top 4. And it's not like, oh, well, maybe it was an old trivia. No, no, no. Like these records have been in the books for a while now. And I'm like, dude, this is my rant. If you're running trivia, you literally only have one job, and it's to tell people the correct answer. And you would be surprised how many trivias are on the internet that I see and I scratch my head and I look up and I'm like, yeah, I knew that was wrong. And it's like, oh, why are you, I wish I could like call them or email them or just be like, hey man, your trivia is wrong. You're gonna like, are you doing this professionally? Bill said, yeah, it used to be called Home Depot Center. They played there 2017 to 2019. Chargers played there. Okay, so that's where it was. I thought so. And then Legendary Pest Control is in the chat, coming in with an answer right off the bat, not even easing in, just dropping the answer. He said Jerry Rice or Randy Moss. And what was the question again? Who had the most receiving yards in a single football game? KC said Fred Bintkoff. Fred Bintkoff, which we learned about him, what was it? Probably like a month and a half ago. At least I did. You guys taught me. Bill said Jerry Rice because I got no idea otherwise. And KC said, just to be different, back to you, Bill. Either of yours is just as good. Well, let me make this a little bit easier, and I will give you some options, okay? Flipper Anderson, Calvin Johnson, Terrell Owens, and the last one is Jim Benton. Jim Benton. Okay. Now, a lot of people probably don't know these names because let's be real. If you are 28 years old or younger, then you didn't grow up watching these guys. Okay. And Legendary Pest Control says Calvin all day. Calvin Johnson, Megatron, the guy that retired so early that we all said, how could you retire that early? You got so much football left in you. And he walked away and stopped playing. And you know what? It didn't even matter. He was so good. He still went into the Hall of Fame. Casey said Terrell Owens, and Legendary says Calvin had a 200 plus game. Well, cha. I'm going to give you the answer right now, okay? The answer is Flipper Anderson. Flipper Anderson. Now, I wanted to set this up so that you guys would actually get some info. So I'm going to read this. I couldn't format it great, but Flipper Anderson had 336 receiving yards. He played for the Rams, and they were the Los Angeles Rams back in 1989. The Rams, what we learned today, moved from wherever the Cleveland Rams, that's where they were initially, Cleveland. And then they moved to LA, then St. Louis, then back to LA. So the first time they moved to LA, they had a receiver named Flipper Anderson. He had 336 receiving yards in a game versus the New Orleans Saints on November 26th, 1989. I YouTubed this specific game, and this was a Sunday night football game, and it's on YouTube. And I recommend everyone check out just the way that it was formatted and the the way technology was. It's really cool to go back and watch. Number 2, Legendary Pest Control, Calvin Johnson. Obviously, it was a great guess because you did remember he had a game with 200 plus receiving yards. But did you know he had a game with 300 plus receiving yards? 329 yards when they played the Cowboys on October 27th. I would have thought to myself, is this a Thanksgiving game? No, Dallas and the Lions both play on Thanksgiving. They don't play each other, and Thanksgiving's not in October. The other one, Stefan Page. He's a Kansas City receiver. They were playing the Chargers on December 22nd, 1985. He had 309 yards. And number 4 is Jim Benton, Cleveland Rams versus Detroit Lions, 1945. There's your Cleveland Rams. We wrap up the trivia with a full circle with Jim Benton. He played for the Cleveland Rams. So Bill goes, so what? Someone named their kid Flipper? Yeah, pretty much. And the answer on this trivia website was Floyd Little. Floyd Little, which I remembered Floyd Little. He was good. But he is not the all-time receiving. Floyd Little, the reason I remembered him was because he was in the old Madden when you could go in there and you play with the old legends. And then Bill goes, bonus trivia for you, Kyle. I love it when you guys give me a question. I got to give you all these questions, and unfortunately, I know all the answers because I created them. But here we go. Time to put me to the test. When the Rams moved to LA for the first time, where did they play? Hint, I was there. Ooh. Okay, are you asking me like what city did they play or what stadium were they in? What are you exactly asking? Is it like cuz when the Packers changed Lambeau Field, they did a bunch of upgrades. They actually played in Milwaukee. So are you asking something like that? Never mind, messed up the question. Should have been whose stadium did they play in? That's what I thought you were asking. And KC goes probably Jimmy Johnson. LOL. None of these guys made Madden Hall of Fame. Floyd Little did. I don't know what year you're playing, but I played with Floyd Little. I'm pretty sure that he was in it for more than 1 year. Not the Hall of Fame game, but there is a Madden, I think it was 2012. I think Vince Young was on the cover. Yeah, because it was after T.O. was on the cover, but that was ESPN 2K5. And it was definitely Madden that's where I learned about Sammy Bow, the quarterback, because he was really fast and he was really good. I learned about all these young guys. LOL, I'm a QB guy. I'm an 08 guy. Okay. Yeah. Dude, if they could have just kept doing 2K instead of Madden, I couldn't imagine how much better the game would be today. I drafted Hall of Fame on same. Yeah, man, that's the way to do it. 88 speed. You already know, man. It's almost like it's like a cheat code. So, I said that was the last question, but you know what? I'm just gonna throw one last in there for you guys because I really enjoy this, and I wanna leave tonight with no round in the chamber. I want to send them all. Okay, so here is the last question. I know what it is. I just want to be able to click it and not just say it. The question is, I don't see. Okay, here it is. Which team currently plays in Bank of America Stadium? The Dallas Cowboys, the New England Patriots, the Cincinnati Bengals, or the Carolina Panthers? Vince is a 92. Vince Young should not be in the Madden Hall of Fame. I really hope you're talking about Vince Lombardi. Because Vince Young being a 92 speed makes sense, but he's no Hall of Famer. No, once I even said that out loud, I felt like an idiot. You don't even have to answer that. I know Vince Young is not who you're talking about. Madden 08. Cowboys. Oh man, I'm gonna have to get myself the new Madden and just like once a week for all my Madden fans, I'm gonna stream a game, and I'm not even great at Madden. I'm decent, but that would be fun. Oh, you are talking about Vince Young. Unbelievable. What a shame that they put him in the Hall of Fame. Maybe the College Hall of Fame. Casey said, Bengals, I don't really pay attention to the sponsors. And then Bill goes D because he used process of elimination. If you're joining us right now, the question was which team currently plays in Bank of America Stadium? Well, he did process of elimination. Let's see if I can do it. Dallas Cowboys are AT&T. The New England Patriots are Gillette. The Bengals are oh gosh, the Bengals. What are the Bengals? Um, the Bengals. I I know what the Panthers are. I don't know what the Bengals are. But because I know what the Panthers are, I know the answer to this question. But I've always been honest about the ones I actually know and the ones that I learned today. This is one that I knew. And I know the frickin' Bengals too. I don't know why I can't think of it right now. What letter does it start with? If you know, Bill said he knows. Put what letter that it starts with for the Cincinnati Bengals. And Vince Young goes LMAO. He graduated Texas in '06. Oh, okay. So I guess Madden had no way to know he was gonna suck. I mean, look, a lot of people don't remember in 2008 he had the Tennessee Titans 10-0. I believe it was that year. They were 10-0. I mean, they got off and they were winning all the games and then he just collapsed. P. Okay, P. Remember all the Baker Mayfield lives at the stadium? Progressive. I didn't think it was progressive. I thought it was something different. Is it really? No way. That is. Oh, Paycor. Paycor Stadium. That's what it is. So I think those Baker Mayfield. Yeah, yeah. So it's Paycor. But I knew it was something weird like that. That's why when you said P, I was like, oh, I know it. But then I knew it wasn't progressive. Okay, Paycor. So Paycor. And the Giants are MetLife. And I'm pretty sure the Chiefs, they're Arrowhead. Broncos have changed a lot, but they went they went from Invesco to Sports Authority, and now they're insurance company. God, I um can't believe I'm drawing a blank. God, this this is so frustrating. What it? Oh no, not Empower Field. That's not what I was thinking about. I was trying to think of their number one. I know Empower, but there's another sponsorship in there. Bill, quit while you're ahead. KC off the top ropes. Like we're gonna do stadium name trivia. That's gonna be our next Thursday. We're gonna do strictly the names of stadiums when they got adopted. Probably, I would say the most legendary name of any stadium in the NFL. And I'm biased, but it's got to be Mile High Stadium. That is just pretty dope. How many people can be like, "You're a mile above the ground. Welcome." The ball travels farther. People can't breathe. The Broncos, if you ever go to a home game, they throw up 5,280, get in the opponent's head. They're literally putting up signs that say, you can't breathe, you need oxygen. It becomes a mental thing over there. It's a lot of fun. Casey said, please don't don't do the sports stadium trivia. We'll do a poll. We'll do a poll on it, Casey. And Bill, thanks, Casey. Yeah, man. I think we got a lot of new ideas today. We're getting closer to the season starting, so I mean, we only got a couple more months, of doing this kind of stuff, and then it's going to be back streaming Thursday night football, Sunday, Monday, Sunday night. It's going to be awesome. But and then obviously our episodes on Mondays and Wednesdays. There's gonna be a lot of streaming going on, but for the off season, we're gonna have some fun. I'm gonna see about trying to stream once a week a game of Madden, and then next week we're gonna watch the highest scoring game of all time, the Washington Redskins against the New York Giants. I think everybody needs to see that game. The Washington Redskins scored 72 points and the New York Giants scored 41 for a total of 113 points. And if you guys have any suggestions, and I was thinking the next week after that, we should watch the game that had the dudes that you're making fun of, Flipper, uh, Flipper, his 300 whatever receiving yards, but I think that's impossible because the game was in like 1945 or whatever. So it's probably not going to happen. But we could go to number 2 on the list and see who was number 2. Calvin Johnson. Let's watch the Detroit Lions versus Dallas Cowboys in 2013, the year that the Seahawks won the Super Bowl. And it was the only year that the Super Bowl was hosted in New Jersey. Fun fact for Bill, since he's a New Jersey guy. And let me get to the bottom here. In black and white, sounds like fun. Legendary Pest Control says, I saw it live. Arrowhead, by far my favorite, and they love to wreck Denver. Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of new. So if you've been watching football for a long time, it's not like this is a long ordeal, but a lot of bandwagon fans for the Chiefs are they love to say things like that when, they just won their 3rd Super Bowl just a couple months ago. We've had a 3rd for a while now. And Legendary goes Jimmy's GPA. Jimmy's GPA. So what is Jimmy's GPA? I can't. Long-time Cutler. For a long time, Cutler was your best year? Not even close. Cutler wasn't even our quarterback for a long time. Cutler was pretty decent, and I'm not ashamed to say that, oh, Cutler was one of our best years, because if you ask a Bears fan, Jay Cutler's the best quarterback they've ever had. So it could be worse. We look at Jay Cutler like, oh man, that was a rough time. The Bears look at Jay Cutler like, that's the best quarterback we've ever had. And we had John Elway and Peyton Manning. That's 2 of the highest graded quarterbacks out of college in the history of the NFL. And they both played on our team. And, when you think of 2013, I think of 55 touchdown passes, the all-time record, passing Tom Brady, throwing Randy Moss, 50 touchdown passes between that Wes Walker, Randy Moss. They went undefeated just to get their asses kicked to the Giants. And yeah, Peyton Manning in 2013 said, hold my beer. I'm going to go out here and throw for 55 touchdown passes. He literally dominated the AFC West for his entire 4 years. I think they only lost like 2 divisional games in his 4 years and won the AFC West every single year. So those were good years, but it is what it is. But I will say, you said for a long time Cutler was our best year. It was actually Jake Plummer in 2005. If you run the tape, you will see that Jake Plummer actually got us to a 13-3 record, and we beat the Patriots and went on to lose to the Steelers, who would ultimately win the Super Bowl that year against the Seahawks. Philly Sports Talk is in here. What's good? We just wrapped up our NFL trivia, and it was a really good one. I always say, if you guys ever want to run it back, just put in the comments your answers, and we'll put them on the board because we were keeping track of these. And then Legendary says Peyton was sad. I don't know. You must be talking about Peyton Hillis. You guys were better than the Chiefs when he had Cutler. Before was Priest. Talking about Priest Holmes. Yeah, I mean, we were better than the Chiefs for many years. Priest Holmes was good. They had Tony Gonzalez as well. Um, Trent Green was their quarterback. No, the Chiefs had some good years, but and that's one of the things I was saying was like when I've watched every single Broncos game for about 23 years straight now, haven't missed one. And for most of my life, Denver was kind of like the 49ers, the current 49ers. They weren't going to the Super Bowl, but they were always in the playoffs and they were always playing pretty hard. And they were never, just having a bad season. And I was thinking since 2015, Denver hasn't returned to the playoffs. So if somebody was 8 years old when they started watching Bronco games, that means that they are turning what, 16 years old, and they haven't seen Denver even go to the playoffs. Their whole entire life, they probably think that, Denver sucks because 8 to 16, guess what? The Chiefs were winning and the Broncos were losing. But that's why I can't talk to young people because they don't understand that we're just like, we, for a long time, had more Super Bowl appearances than we had losing seasons. It was like there was a poll on Twitter yesterday that said, rate these home field advantages in order. And everyone's like, oh, Arrowhead's number one. They had it in 5 categories. It was like very, very good, good, average, bad, terrible. And everybody had Denver in average. And I'm like, okay. And then the Chiefs were number one in everyone. And I'm like, okay, go ahead and do a Google search of who has the NFL record for longest sellout streak in the NFL. Okay. Now, whoever that team is that pops up as the answer, one thing we know about the fan base is that it's not average. It's not average. It's not average. Casey said football video night is next week. Absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to do football video night. I'm thinking right now, Tuesday, but we do our Monday episode. So I'll let you guys know for sure on Monday. Legendary Pest Control said, Cowboys fans are berserk because you can't breathe. LOL. No, I just have a lot of built up anger. Look, ever since Rick got me on the internet, I've been more angry because they say ignorance is bliss, but it is alive and well on the internet. And I just wish I actually respect different opinions, but I do ask that you have some sort of knowledge about the subject and you're not just a Patrick Mahomes fan. That's just my only thing. And he goes, can't yell with thin air. Dude, when you're acclimated, you're acclimated. I lived there for a couple years, and trust me, nobody has ever been at a game and went, God, I wish we could cheer, but you just can't breathe because the air is so thin. Not a thing. Look, you're just sitting there cheering and banging. You're fine. And plus, it affects other people. It doesn't affect you. Like, it's like the humidity in Florida, once you live there for multiple years, you don't even feel it. And then people come in and they're like, oh, it's so wet here. It's just what we do. We adapt. We adapt. That's what humans do. Well, thank you guys for coming in here on this Trivia Saturday. Trivia is normally on Thursdays. If you're new here, please subscribe. By the way, we got our 300th subscriber this week. So round of applause for everybody. That is you guys, man. When you guys like the video, you're helping the algorithm. I've noticed that even my weekly episodes, we for a long time had 1 to 3 views on them. And it's okay because I love it. I love doing this. But now they're in the 60s and the 50s. And it just means a lot to me that you guys, especially the people that have been here since day one, you guys have continued to show up and help the algorithm and share with your buddies and make this video one of your homes for football. Especially, I understand that there's just such great content creators out there that I'm honored to be on your list for video. So, um, Casey says Denver is great for vacations and legendary pest control. I can't read that one; it's too blurry. But yeah, no, you guys are awesome. Good job. I would say I'm gonna post the scores on Monday for the trivia. Casey and Bill both had a pretty good trivia day. Bill started 3 for 3, went down a stretch of not knowing some, but they were really tough ones. And then it was um Casey that got one more right to match Bill. And then Bill gets one more right towards the end with the Carolina Panthers. So, yeah, like I said, we'll be here Monday. So definitely come back if you're new. And we're also going to go on Thursday, and that's when we do the trivia. And on Wednesday, we do only football with Kyle. So Monday and Wednesday, it's a totally different format. We're just going over news, headlines, draft. Rookie training camp is about to start up. We're going to discuss all of that, which teams we're most excited about going out there. Um, and then everything else that happens. There's still some notable free agents out there that are available, like Jadeveon Clowney, hoping that Denver picks him up, but they won't. But, whoever does will probably get him at a bargain and be lucky to get him. So definitely come back. Sorry, I had that carbonation burp. Definitely come back on Monday for our NFL news roundup. See what we missed from Wednesday's episode until Monday. And until then, I will see you guys, and go frickin' Broncos. The Chiefs suck. The Raiders suck. The Chargers suck. Everyone sucks besides the Broncos. I love you guys.